This interview is a part of the Oklahoma Historical Society's Oral History Program, Living Legends collection. There is no original date given for this interview. The interview was originally conducted by Mrs. Mary B. Roberts. The interviewees are Mr. and Mrs. J. M. Davis of Claremore, Oklahoma. Mr. and Mrs. Davis are the owners and proprietors of the Davis Gun Collection and Museum in Claremore. This material is being re-recorded on the 3rd of November, 1986 for inclusion in the permanent collections of the Oral History Program by Judith Michener.
This is the historic Mason Hotel. I'm in the lobby with Mr. and Mrs. Davis. I suppose of all of the old timers that we have now with us, Mr. Davis is perhaps the most outstanding one that we know. His world collection, unequaled anywhere, of guns, not to mention the steins and the other artifacts of history that will mean more and more as the years go by to our compiling and constantly moving history of Oklahoma. I'm going to give you now Mr. and Mrs. Davis. I'll let you get their names and anything they wish to say. Tell them their name.
Huh?
Tell them their name.
Talking this thing?
Tell them their name, honey. Just
This,
tell them their name.
this is J.M. Davis.
That's fine. And I'm Genevieve Breeden Davis.
His wife.
Uh-huh. Now, how did you start your collection? When did you get your first gun?
What is
Mr. Davis acquired his first gun from his father. Mr. Davis was 7 years old at the time, and it was given to him as a bribe for taking medicine. Let's see what else now. And then from then, when Mr. Davis was about 13, his father passed away and left him 2 or 3 other guns. I think one of them was an air gun. He still has his first gun. It's a muzzle-loading 410 shotgun hanging over the arch here in the coffee shop. Cradled in those hoofs. Uh-huh. And, Mr. Davis was 7, and he's will be 84 in June, so we can figure it from there. Now, he has some interesting guns, some very expensive ones, of course, still here in the hotel. 23% of his collection has been moved into the new building, the status building, for this. And, of course, the rest are here. He has, they say the Parker and, the Walker and Patterson Colts, which are very nice guns. Also, here's one used by Napoleon Bonaparte in the battle at Waterloo.
I remember you had that one.
It's an interesting gun.
How did he obtain that?
How did you obtain that?
I don't know.
Well, he doesn't remember. He has so many, but of course he purchased it, and he does have papers on it indicating what it is. He has a case over here of outlaw guns. All right. Let's see. He has Bonnie Parker, and, just a number of outlaws over there. He was permitted to buy a collection of guns, which had been put together by Merle Gill, a ballistic expert who was working for the government. Mr. Gill had bought these from the government, so Mr. Davis acquired those, and that's an interesting collection to most people. They ask us, do you have any famous guns? And I always say, well, for instance, and most of the people say outlaw guns, and
That's what we read.
that's
we
right.
read most about those.
Right. Now, let's see, what else do you want to know?
I wonder if he would make a statement about how many he has. And
Mr. Davis has over 20,000 guns and over 30,000 guns and other items. Now,
That's all.
when will they be in the new building? Do you know about
well,
that?
the building isn't
When do I
completed.
get to heaven?
No, right. The building isn't completed. It's only 40% completed.
And we don't know when the rest will be done because it'll be necessary to have an appropriation, you know. So we never know. We hope it's this year.
We're waiting on one too.
Oh, I know.
Historical.
Now let's.
I'm very glad to hear that Rogers County is starting on a historical association of its own. That's going to be a splendid thing. And on March 18th, we hope that we have a representative here to be with you at that time. Rogers County is perhaps the best spot and the best known spot in Oklahoma so far as history is concerned. And of all of our counties, this one is the one that we really should be specializing in and getting these recordings in as rapidly as possible. I'm so glad to know that you're beginning your historical society here.
We're quite pleased about it and enthusiastic.
Yes.
We want to charge ahead.
Well,
Waste no time.
I'm sure that you will. I'll be glad to take back to the State Society anything that you would like for me to, and I would be glad to call Mr. Shirk and Mr. Woods and tell them that you're in action up here, that you're doing the best you can.
Mr. Isaacs and Mr. North are the ones who are promoting this, but I'm just helping.
That's wonderful, Ms. Davis. It's grand to have you. I wonder if Mr. Davis could tell us about something about the beer steins and the other artifacts that he had. He's probably had so much. Well, so just have them in there. If that, maybe on the 18th, maybe we'll be able to get a more thorough one on it. Well, I hope so too, because we do want to get as much as possible in his own voice. That's right. Well, and nothing we could do. Then I suppose since we've discovered that the Rogers County is getting independent and making its own association, I think we'll just hold off until the 18th then. And whoever comes up that day, is it in the afternoon or the evening?
It's in the evening at 7:30 at Lashbaugh Hall at the Oklahoma Military Academy.
Say that again now, please.
It's on March the 18th, 7:30 at the Lashbaugh Hall at the Oklahoma Military Academy.
All right. We'll try to get a representative here, and in the meantime, you'll hear from us between now and then. And thank you so much. Mr. Davis, thank you. I wish you felt more like talking with us, but I know there are days when a guy can't. I've had them.
I know. Well, here, this is very bad.
Testing.